Hello friends, let us now learn some important points about the antihypertensive drug, which is beta blockers. In the beta blockers we have propranolol, metoprolol, atenolol, labetalol and even others we can use. Actually propranolol is the first beta blocker which is effective in hypertension and ischemic heart disease. Then the metoprolol and atenolol are the most commonly used beta blockers for hypertension, whereas labetalol and also carvedilol, both these are beta blockers with alpha 1 blocking activity, thus they will cause vasodilatation. Then we have the drug carvedilol. This carvedilol is preferred beta blocker in heart failure. Then we have the drug nebivolol. This nebivolol causes beta blocking action. Along with that, it has vasodilation action because it releases nitric oxide. Then we have celiprolol. This celiprolol is preferred in hypertension with bronchial asthma. In patients with hypertension with bronchial asthma, celiprolol is preferred. Then we have esmolol. In esmolol, it is the drug of choice for intraoperative or postoperative hypertension and arrhythmias. This esmolol is also a shorter half. This is the shortest acting beta blocker. Okay. Then we also use alpha blockers, are also used in hypertensions. In alpha blocker we can use either the non-selective alpha blockers or selective alpha blockers are used. In non-selective alpha blockers, in pheochromocytoma, the drug of choice in pheochromocytoma is phenoxybenzamine is used as the drug of choice for pheochromocytoma. Then phentolamine is actually used for it is used as a drug of choice for cheese reaction and also for clonidine withdrawal. We use this phentolamine as the drug of choice. These two are the non-selective alpha blockers. Then if you see the selective alpha blockers, in the selective alpha blockers we have the drug which is prazosin, which is used as drug of choice for hypertension with benign prostatic hyperplasia. This prazosin is also safe in diabetes mellitus, coronary artery disease and gout. Because it is safe in coronary artery disease, it will improve the lipid levels. Okay, so this is about the alpha blockers and the beta blockers. Then the next important drug is vasodilators, are also involved in are also antihypertensive drugs. In that we have first sodium nitroprusside. This sodium nitroprusside will actually, it will generate nitric oxide which will increase the cyclic GMP level, causing vasodilatation. Now this vasodilatation will be both arterial dilatation and also venular dilatation. When it causes arterial vasodilatation, it will decrease the peripheral vascular resistance, thus decreasing BP. If it causes venular dilatation, it will cause pooling of blood in venules and thus it will decrease the venous return to the heart, and obviously it will decrease the cardiac output, thus finally decreasing the BP. So in this mechanism, the sodium nitroprusside decreases the BP. This sodium nitroprusside is actually an unstable compound and it decomposes when exposed to light, and as a result, once you prepare this solution, you will put it in a bottle and you will cover the entire bottle with black or amber colored paper so that the light cannot pass. So because as the light decomposes the substance, okay, then this sodium nitroprusside has short duration of half-life. It has short half-life. It is given as IV infusion in 5% dextrose. So because of its short half life, it can be used in hypertensive emergencies, and it is rapidly acting also, so the doses can be titrated. So if we see the uses, it can be used as hypertensive emergencies. Actually it is used as a second line in hypertensive emergencies. If you see the side effects, it causes hypotension, and in overdose it can cause anorexia, nausea or vomiting, fatigue, disorientation can occur, or sometimes it can also cause accumulation of cyanide. So whenever it causes accumulation of cyanide, it causes toxic psychosis, or it can cause hypothyroidism and metabolic acidosis, right? So this causes cyanide poisoning. So this cyanide poisoning can be treated by giving hydroxycobalamin, can be used for the treatment of this cyanide poisoning which occurs due to sodium nitroprusside. Then the next group of antihypertensives are potassium channel openers. These potassium channel openers will open the potassium channels and cause efflux of potassium, and this will lead to hyperpolarization, and as a result the blood vessels will start to relax, which will lead to vasodilatation. So first and foremost, if you see, the first drug that is important in potassium channel opener is hydralazine. This hydralazine will cause potassium efflux, and also it causes vasodilatation, and it will also release nitric oxide from the endothelium. This hydralazine is a acetylator. It is metabolized by acetylation, so it is genetically determined due to slow and fast acetylators, just like isoniazid. This hydralazine is used in hypertensive emergencies, especially in pregnancy, and we can also use it in congestive heart failure. This hydralazine, the side effect is it is used in side effect is it can cause drug induced lupus. Then the next important drug, which is potassium channel opener, is diazoxide. This diazoxide is a potassium channel opener in smooth muscles, so it causes relaxation of these smooth muscles. And this diazoxide also acts on beta cells of pancreas, and thus it will decrease the insulin release. Whenever the insulin release is decreased, it will cause hyperglycemia, and as a result this hyperglycemia, so as a result it is contraindicated in diabetes mellitus, but this is actually the drug of choice in insulinoma, because in insulinoma there is deficiency of insulin, in insulinoma there is excess of insulin causing hypoglycemia. So because this diazoxide decreases the insulin secretion, so it is drug of choice in insulinoma. Then the third drug which is important is minoxidil. This minoxidil is a prodrug, and in the liver it gets converted to minoxidil sulfate, and this is used in the patients with chronic renal failure, because this level is not changed in chronic renal failure. So if you see the side effects, this minoxidil causes abnormal hair growth or hypertrichosis. This is called as hirsutism in females. So as a result, this minoxidil is contraindicated in females. One more side effect is it causes reflex tachycardia and headache is seen. So this use of abnormal hair growth is, so because of this abnormal hair growth, it is approved by FDA for androgenic alopecia. Okay, so this is about the potassium channel openers. Then we have the next group of drug, which is a dopamine agonist called as phenaldipam. This phenaldipam is also a vasodilator, which is a D1 agonist, dopaminergic agonist. This is used in hypertensive emergency. Right? What is the drug of choice for hypertensive emergency? Drug of choice is IV nicardipine, but we can use this phenaldipam in hypertensive emergency. Then the next group of antihypertensives are calcium channel blockers. These calcium channel blockers are of two types. One which is dihydropyridines, and second which are non-dihydropyridines. In this chapter we are going to learn about first we will learn about dihydropyridines. Okay, these dihydropyridines can be one nifedipine or amlodipine, felodipine, isradipine. All these act on the blood vessels, smooth muscles, and they will cause vasodilatation, thus increasing the blood pressure. So these are called as, because they are acting on blood vessels, we call them as peripheral calcium channel blockers. Then the drugs like nimodipine will actually act on cerebrovascular system, that is on the brain. Okay, they are cerebroselective because they are preferred in treatment of subarachnoid hemorrhage. Okay, then we have the other drug, which is clevidipine and clinidipine. Clevidipine and clinidipine, these are used in hypertensive emergency and they are actually nephroprotective. Okay, then we have one more drug, which is nicardipine. This nicardipine has faster onset of action and it is drug of choice in hypertensive emergency. Right, so these are the dihydropyridines. Then if you see, we also have non-dihydropyridines. These non-dihydropyridines include verapamil. This verapamil is given as drug of choice in supraventricular tachycardia. And we also have diltiazem. So these are non-dihydropyridines. These non-dihydropyridines mainly act on the heart, rather more their action is maximum on the heart and minimum on the blood vessels, and that is the reason why these non-dihydropyridines are called as central calcium channel blockers. So these are the some important drugs which you see in hypertension, which you give in hypertension. Thank you for watching.